So there's a lot of universal agreement that the thing that got the brain starting to grow and to leave the Australopithecine state and become Homo, basically, was eating meat. And the first humans to sort of use tools were the first to sort of have evidence where they were found that they ate meat. They would probably be scavengers. They would have their stone tools and they would find a carcass and they'd smash the bones open, eat the marrow, and just take whatever was left behind. They were called Homo habilis or Homo rudefensis, depending on what school you're from. Not like private school, you get on. Anyway. But the thing about meat, it wasn't just because it supplied the protein to the brain, it was also because you had to strategize and all these social dynamics were there. And so when they got to this carcass, it would almost be like, who do I share with? Who gets the first dibs? Who do I look after and who do I screw over? And who do I conspire against? And all this kind of led to the brain growth too. It's called the carcass. Once it was a bow-legged calf, pillared by its mother's legs, then a buck, a virile vessel of the will, a piston within the stampede, a levered drum within the thundering herd. Then the quarry, a shockwave for a feline iris, tautening sinew and claw, the long breath before the big leap, the great weight clung, the soft neck pierced, the sudden hot flesh, the sating blood. Now, the lucky find, the jutting ribs, the slender slivers yielding to sharpened rock, the alpha's right, the beta's conspiracy, the troop's salvation, the bargaining table, the seed of culture, the church. So you go further up and you find a species called Homo ergaster. They're no longer, their bodies are pretty much anatomically modern, their skulls aren't, but they looked like, from what we found, they were like Maasai warriors and then some. They were just perfectly built for just running long distances through Saharan Africa, just chasing down their prey. This poem's basically comparing these wonderful kind of species of strong humans to me when I started jogging last year. There's never a good time to start. And after 3 years glugging Guinness, chowing down the bubbling brown bilge beneath a strata of Frey Bentos pastry, it's time to retune your physique, retrieve the six-pack you traded for a barrel. So if you're exposed, hairy white calves cloaked by the January morning dark, you slog and wheeze downhill, past the early rising office spots. The rusting iron jaws of the park gates glug you in and cough you up onto the purgatory of the orbital pathway. Every dog that is walked this hour is Cerberus. And as the insane wolfhound charges, you're too knackered to care. Slowly nestling into the tempo of some Stone Age metronome. If you don't find your rhythm, you weaken. If you don't find your pace, you die. This body you've blunted through living room tenure, this smooth running design is nearly 2 million years old, necessitated by the long hot sprawl of the savannah. Your ergaster forebears were built to run. Long legs, straight back, smooth skin, sweat glands, with hand axe grip firm under the noonday sun, man was cleaning up, stealing the kill, steady pace chasing down straggler wildebeest till they collapsed, half cooked in their furs. 1 lap later, back up the hill, you're as far from these runners as you ever could be. Podge, jiggling in morning's first light, breath heavy, tongue lolling, lungs kaput. If you were a horse, you'd have been shot by now. And yet deep within you found an ancient rhythm that was ticking before the first word was written, and though this will do nothing to improve your dancing at weddings, you feel that connection and know that before man could don his toga and fertilise the gardens of the academy with his worthy platitudes, he had to pound his soles across scorched earth. Before man knew the luxury of the stroll, he had to learn how to run. Okay, otherwise I have to do one that's in my brain. Anyone jogging right now? This last poem, so I'm pretty much taking it to the end of the story. We all know that some humans left Africa all the time, but Africa always seemed to be the sort of engine of evolution for humans. And so one group of humans, Homo heidelbergensis, some stayed in Africa, some went into Europe. The ones in Europe became the Neanderthals, and then the ones left in Africa became Homo sapiens. The Neanderthals did great basically until Homo sapiens went, I wonder what it's like over there. And that was the end of that one, basically. And yeah, so it's the last species of human alive today. This one's called The Drop. It's been a while since their ancestors crossed the land bridge from the plain to the shrieking forest, from Africa to Europe, into the heart of darkness, where the elephants wear long furs and a short-faced bear will make your cave his own. And yet they have flourished, the children of the Boxgrove beastmen, the supreme predator, lord of the terrain, this Neanderthal. Tonight, the mammoths will follow their migratory path along the slim corridor between steppe and cliff, towards the temperate plains of the east, unaware of eyes within the dark, death itself, humans, armed with nothing more than torches, spears, and the night herself. Put yourself in the mind of the beast for a second. Imagine the howling shore wind, the tides boom and shatter, and from the other side the pipes and grunts of the forest, excited grunts and chants, and a singular leering eye of each torch, circling, lurching, bearing in. The mammoths raise on their haunches, thrash their tusks, trumpeting loud, it does not matter, when in places unknown to them and their ancestors, instinct becomes their executioner, as they slip, one by one, over the edge, to be butchered by the sudden jagged rocks, tenderized by the salt palm of the tide. And do not think of this as one small creature comically trumping the giant, but rather the brightness of one mind eclipsing the darkness of another. The sun rises on them, harvesting enough flesh and fur to know that in months to come they shall not want for fat and comfort. In the heat of this triumph, the last thing on their minds is the movements of taller, slimmer humans, small-faced, with tall brows, mouths full of complexities, fingers clutching superior technologies, their steady tread encroaching through millennia to come, pushing the Neanderthal to the edge of existence, taking what genes they require along the way before tipping them over an almost invisible edge. Thank you everyone for listening to me tonight. Lots of good poets reading. Happy birthday, Darwin. Thank you very much.
Making sure to use the microphone of death. There we have a mammoth talent. And if he were a horse, he'd have won the Grand National by now. Mr. Niall O'Sullivan!